All right, good morning. We'll start the Floyd County Board of Supervisors agenda for November 13th, starting at 9 o'clock. First item is to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. On to item 2, public comment. Welcome, everyone. I would like to start out by saying I want to congratulate Rory Swickerath, who will be starting as a Board of Supervisor January 1st.
Thank you.
Whenever our first meeting is. And I do want to thank, I know Stuart, you're here, it takes a lot to run. And I
Yes.
know that. So I want to appreciate the fact that you did run and to try and get that position. So, and I'll congratulate Doug Cameron.
Thank you.
All right.
It was a good fight with these guys.
All good. All right. On to item 3, review/action regarding approval of the October 23rd and November 5th meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
All right, motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. On to item 4, review/action regarding approval of the claims.
And I move to approve those claims as presented.
Seconded.
All right, motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. On to item 5, updates on various boards, commissions, and activities. And we're going to have this on here because we did not have a workshop meeting yesterday. Would you like to start?
Yes, last night I attended an ICOG meeting, which we received the audit there, which is as clean and healthy as it gets. In the last week, had a conservation meeting. And I guess the biggest thing, there's 2 things. They're getting close to their fundraising. I think they got 80,000 out of 110 they're trying to raise for that cabin over there.
Right, I saw that.
And then the goat therapy is done in Wintrix Woods. Floyd County has no goats now. And they're over there with a big machine that they rented from Ziegler, and they're trying to mow some of the buckthorn off over there. Pretty impressive.
I forget, how many goats are there?
Well, there were 50 at various times, but they're all gone back home now. Goat therapy, Adam called it.
All right. Supervisor Kewen.
Yes, thank you. I attended a town hall meeting in New Hampton, actually the same day that Senator Ernst appeared at Zoetis in Charles City. She sent an email to me and Jeff and Gail Schwartzrock, and it said, "See you in Chickasaw County," and a question mark. And so we went over there and introduced the Schwartzrock to Senator Ernst. They talked about their situation and how they're impacted by emissions from the nearby CAFOs, and we talked about the legislation that I testified I was opposed to. The legislation is Senate 2420, and I asked her if that had been passed, and she said she did not know, and she would look that up. And so it was nice to get the Schwarzkopfs to meet Senator Ernst. And that is the only meeting I have.
All right, sounds good. I attended, I guess, a business improvement meeting and also a joint entity, and last week was a department head meeting, so other than that, that's it. All right, item 6, review/action regarding resolution 2918 approving bond purchase agreement for general obligation law enforcement center and courthouse improvement bonds, series 2018A. Please come and join us, Jeff.
Thank you. Jeff Heil, Northland Securities. You have the resolution from...
They all have.
We have it in our packet.
Okay. And it's here. The,
Yeah.
then, Doug didn't ask about updating the treasury chart that we had reviewed the previous times.
Right.
And so you can sort of see the 10-year treasury on there is, had just a little break after we met in October, and it came right back up, you know, pretty much the same pace when we did the sales when I was here. And here, I have all of the public sales that was done in Iowa and Minnesota. That
Oh,
was the
right.
same time that we
Right.
did this. Because we priced these bonds yes, with the holiday being yesterday, we wouldn't have trading. And so we did this on Thursday and Friday. Two of the local banks participated. About 20% of this issue was placed with Charles City's banks, of the 6 million. So, just to get an idea, you know, we have Floyd County right there at the front, and it's the yield. The second column is the yield, is our net, and we'll go through about the coupons. And really where we shine when you compare to all the other sales is on the back end, and that's where most of our interests are. We're a AA-. We sold the Warren counties right a couple days before, and they're one notch above you. They're a straight AA, and you're AA-, and each notch is about 5 basis points. And so Warren County came in on a 3.39, yours came in 3.44, which is exactly, 5 basis points up. When we look at another one, you would go in Wisconsin, the gray shaded area, theirs was a AA2, comparably, where you see back on the back end, 370, 365, where, we've actually had better sales on the back end, on most of the sales. So it went well. It was, a fair sale. The Marshalltown deal that sold right next to it, which they're a AA, they had a little bit, they didn't have any long bonds. There are little less coupons in there, but UMB buys that, and they'll buy those in blocks. Those, when they bought those as public sales, they still haven't placed them. A lot of times they'll come in and they'll be 5 or so basis points, so they'll be out of the market. We actually bid on that. We came in second. Well, 2 of us were tied for second place. That was a 290. We were at 290.12, and then the firm that was in here coming in, they come in 5th place. They were bidding at 3.01 on that Marshalltown. Just so you can sort of get an idea how the market went. It's placed. If we look at this sheet here, these are your actual the bond amount that what we have. Let's go to the top. We're issuing $6,010,000 bonds. We talked about doing $6,115,000, which net effect, you'll see right on the second line, we've offered $101,000 of premiums. So you're getting $6,111,016, but you're only gonna pay back $6,010,000. That's the difference between that 4% coupon and the 2.25. And you'll go across, there's a 102 price. And what they're doing is the banks are paying us a 2, 3, and a 5, 6% premiums to get those higher coupons. Particular on the short end, as interest rates have been going up, nobody wants to have low coupons in a rising interest rates. What they'll do is they say, hey, give us a 3 or a 4% up front, and we'll pay you money up front. And so that's why when our net effect, which comes to, so that's how we get a net effect of a lower interest rate, because we don't have to pay back. And the other thing that's nice, which we don't know what construction costs are gonna happen yet next spring. So we've only issued $6,010,000, but we've got an extra $100,000 that's actually gonna be able to go into your proceeds. So that won't count against, that extra 100 does not count against the bond amount that you did for 13.5, okay? So when we go to do the next issue after construction bids, we'll go off of the 6,010,000, but you'll actually have this extra 100,000 proceeds. And then Frank will be able to start investing these proceeds on December 12th. That's what, you had that question about why that date was on there, 11. That's the date what money's wired into the county. You don't need to take any actions that day. I mean, this action today, and then next week's meeting, Dorsey will have a bond resolution that will put everything we do today
Right.
into a loan agreement. And then that'll be your last action as a whole.
You will have to do a resolution for your depositories to allow that bank to, the banks to hold
Banks
that
to
much
hold.
money.
And then we'll go through exactly the same process next year on the remaining amount.
Yes, then we'll look at it, and that's partly, the other thing that we say now, if you remember, we were able to do the bank qualification, we actually were able
Right.
to reduce this rate by about 20 basis points
Right.
lower. So we've got 6 million locked in, and then we'll look at it after bids come in to do the balance. So today's, in the second page of this is the actual page that you'll have to levy taxes now. What we'll do, Gloria, is we're gonna take this amount, which is, these payments of 400 and some thousand, but what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to do a pre-levy resolution after, when we get ready to do the budget, to come up to your full levy amount, because we don't have the full levy authority, we're gonna have to do a pre-levy resolution to take the balance of what we're gonna guess when construction bids in, so that you can get that in the budget, and I'll help you through that when you're ready to go to budgets next week. So bottom line, on the second page, down at the bottom, what we look at, net interest costs or true interest costs, it's a 3.44% interest locked in with all the fees in, counting into this, okay? Any questions?
So do you think it's higher than what was anticipated?
Well, we had ran, it was, we were looking at probably, rates went up, and as you can go by the chart.
3.5 is what we kind of talked about.
Mhm.
Or-
3.5, when we did estimates early, but
That
when I was here in
on the
October,
earloer estimate.
when I was
Right.
running an aggressive look in
Yeah,
October, but yes, we're
right.
still below
Yeah,
the 3.5 that we estimated to the public.
okay.
For this one.
Yes, and so now, we're just sort of, at least now we've got, not quite half of it locked in. And whether rates go up or down, we've got this amount locked in, and then we'll just have to look, once we get construction bids, see where the market is. And that way it'll give flexibility, because you'll have the cash flow to start, whether you want to sell bonds right away when you get construction
We
bids, or
can
wait
decide
till
that at
next
that
summer.
time,
Mhm.
yeah.
So any questions on the sale or pricing?
Warren County,
Warren.
that's in Indianola.
That's Indianola.
Are they building a new courthouse?
That, yes, that is
Okay.
the new.
So they did their full amount?
No, this is for, it's just the court and the jail, not like a courthouse we think of.
Okay.
They'll just do the public safety and the judges and all that is what.
So
So it's a
that
little bit
nine-
different.
9 million, that's their full amount?
No, theirs is
Okay.
$30 million.
Okay. That's been a pretty
So-
contentious thing down there.
Oh,
Yeah, it
been.
has
It
been.
has been a long time, and so we
Yeah.
did sort of the same thing, we captured the bank qualification up to, they had did a $400,000 lease on a project, and so we had to keep it from 9.5 up to theirs to be under the 10 million. So they did very, very similar thing.
I would move resolution number 29-18.
Second that.
All right, motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Now, if you could sign, we have, so that I can take over to staff so they can email, we need to get this. You can sign that and then audit and put a time
You
on
want
there.
to sign two of them, and you can have an original, and we'll have an original?
Okay, yes.
So all of these,
There's just, yeah.
I've got three.
Oh, that's right, it's actually, you'll have an original, because it's three of the same thing.
Yes, it is.
So we don't need
So,
this.
no, this is just a copy that I've got, so I don't need, but all I need is one to make sure we get faxed. Because once, we have 9, what time did we put on there, 9?
Back to you.
Did we put a time in it?
I have not yet, I could have my staff teach me, but
You can just say, what is it, 9/16, you voted on it? There should be a spot.
Yeah, for time.
Oh, they put the meeting time in at 9 o'clock, so that's, we'll just leave it at that.
Okay, and then with that, we'll move on to the next item, which is review/action regarding full disclosure dissemination agent agreement between Floyd County and Northland Securities in connection with the GO bonds.
Okay, what this is we are your dissemination agent currently. Right now, you are on a limited reporting. When you had less than $5 million out, the attorney writes the opinion, which is a limited scope, which all we did is had to report the audit to all of the people who own the bonds. Now, with this issue, in the resolution that Dorsey put together, law requires now you're over 5, you have to have full disclosure. So everything that was in that official statement has to be updated every June 30th and then reported to the municipal world. And so, as an agent, we take care of all that for you. If you have a rating increase or decrease, anything that comes along, those have to be reported, and you have 10 days on any material event. So it's our responsibility as this to do it. You can, the agreement is that anytime that you want to dismiss us and you don't do it yourself, nobody's doing, bond attorneys will not have, any of the issues themselves, do it themselves. And so, and I know Bankers Trust no longer does full disclosure either. So we're about the only ones that do the service. And,
Okay.
so what we do, we'll be responsible, so you don't have to worry about anything. We'll do the full reporting, we'll get it done, and then file it within the year.
And the auditor signed this one.
Yeah, it's got just a place for the auditor.
I'm looking at.
Yeah, a lot of, it works, because they're the ones responsible. Some goes to the board of supervisors, some audits. You gotta have the board do it. I have about 50/50, but it's just good that the board sees what it is, does authorization so that the auditors can.
Okay, all right.
With that, I would move that we approve the full disclosure dissemination agent agreement with Northland Securities and direct the auditor to sign.
Seconded.
All right, motion made and seconded. Further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Well, thank you very
Okay.
much. So did she go ahead and email?
I
those?
just emailed it to you and Cynthia and whoever was in that
Okay.
email.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah,
We'll be in
thank you.
contact after the first of the year to make sure the pre-levying, as you're doing your budget.
Right.
Just keep track of.
Right, I wrote that down so we don't forget about it.
Get the rest of, see how what is the estimate at this time for going out for construction?
For bids, it's like March, April,
Okay,
so just so you know.
okay,
Yeah,
good.
okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
appreciate your time.
Okay. Congratulations.
Excellent. Okay, we will move on to item 8, review/action regarding authorization to proceed with requests for proposals for demolition of structures 901 Gilbert, 101 South Jackson, and 111 South Jackson. We plan to work on putting the proposal together, the RFP, so that we can try to get this sent out. In order to do that, we just wanted to see whether the board will go ahead and approve us to get, completion of the RFP out there and get it let. So that's really what this one is.
We had the hazardous material abatement will be that last weekend in November. And so if we could get this demolition started at the heels of that, rather than wait until the next board meeting.
So we try and stay on schedule. All right, so do we have a motion on that?
Yes, I'd move to approve.
Second.
All right, motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. All right, on to the next item. Item 9, review/action regarding authorization to proceed with request for proposals for construction management services for the law enforcement center and courthouse projects updates project. So again, to keep us on schedule, I've been working with Prohaska right now. I'm putting a summarized report together to present to all of you for next Monday on the revised projections, revised schedule, and with that being said, we want to keep again going. There is the opportunity to go ahead and start getting the RFPs out there so that we could review responses as early as the first part of December. So again, this is just to keep us on schedule.
We move that we would give authorization to proceed with request for proposal for the construction management service.
Second?
Okay, motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay. Item 10, review/action regarding payment in lieu of taxes, consideration waiver for the North Iowa Regional Housing Authority. And again, that was in our packet.
This is an annual thing that you do. This is so that in lieu of paying taxes, this was just for the Rockford property in Floyd County, that money could go towards improvements on the properties rather than on taxes. The state allows this, they call it a pilot. I think it's been beneficial for that Rockford property.
All right. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the payment in lieu of taxes consideration.
Second?
All right, motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Item 11, review/action regarding other post-employee benefits plan, the GASB-75.
So this
Okay.
has to do with GASB 75, I believe it is. And this is where they have to, this is for auditing purposes, where we have to hire an actuarian to come up with the value of benefits for employees, including those employees after they leave employment, if we continue benefits to those employees. Even though the employees pay 100% of their premiums, there's still an effect of what their claims can have on insurance for the other employees, and so that's the purpose for this report. In the past, this has been a 3-year report, and it was GASB, I'm probably gonna get my numbers wrong, maybe GASB 45? Not sure which GASB it was, but now it has been revised, and now we have to do this every 2 years. And so this is the report that will be used for the actuarial rates that are required to be used for the audit ending June 30th, 2018. Bob Hobson is the actuarian we have used for, since this type of post-employment benefits were required. I think we've maybe done 2 3-year reports with him, and this is our first 2-year report with Bob.
All right,
I've looked over the numbers myself, everything looks in lieu, it looks fine. There was just some typo things that Bob just emailed me an updated one with just some, the numbers haven't changed, it's just typing.
okay. Typos? All right,
I'd make a motion to approve the post-employee benefit plan, GASB 75.
all right, motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Item 12, review/action regarding setting rates for the 28E law enforcement agreements with the cities of Caldwell, Floyd, Marble Rock, North Springs, Rockford, and Marble Rock. Sheriff Crooks, I see you're here. I know we've talked about this. We did have feedback from some of the mayors, and there was a couple here at our last workshop meeting. Sounds like everything seems to be fine. I have not heard that there's any issues that we've had. So it sounded like they're wanting to proceed status quo, I think, on this one. So it's North Springs is an hourly rate, is that correct? And
Yes.
the rest of them are a $4 per capita.
Sure.
Okay, do you have any other comments? Or
No, I think like.
Two-year contract.
Two-year
Yes.
contract,
Yeah,
that's
two-year
true,
contract
because
we
it
talked
wasn't
about.
one, that's true.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right,
So I would move to approve that 2080.
Actually not approving the 2080 at this time, you're just approving the rates so that they have their rates for budgeting purposes.
I would move to approve the, setting the rate at $4 per capita for our town of Floyd County.
Second.
And
and
$25.
20, and it's an hourly
$25 an hour.
for North Springs.
North Springs.
Yeah. Okay. All right, motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passed, okay. All right, item 13, review/action regarding resolution 28-18 to erect a stop sign at Walnut Avenue and 170th Street.
This is the,
This is yours.
yeah,
Okay.
this is the bridge project that we're not gonna finish this year.
Right,
Up there,
Frankie's?
yeah.
okay.
And basically, with the new realignment, the Walnut comes in from the north and tees into east side of the new bridge. And so just for formality, we're placing a stop sign there, so it's just, it'll get, once, they're supposed to be there today doing the dirt work on the east side and trying to wrap that up for the winter to get that east side open, so I just figured we'll get a formality in there to get this done, so we can put the stop sign up before winter hits,
Okay.
so,
Feels like winter's here.
I know.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I don't know if you guys had a copy. Okay.
Yeah, Janet emailed it this morning.
Okay. There's nothing unordinary that we've not done before, it's just a matter of getting the resolution approved to erect the stop sign.
Okay.
I would move to approve resolution number 28-18.
Second.
All right, motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passed. Great, I'll sign that right now.
You just want to give me a copy whenever you get it all.
She gave her, so two.
You have it?
Okay, there you go.
Oh, that one you want all of them. Do it all signatures.
Okay.
Actually, do both of them with all the signatures.
Okay, sounds good. All right, while I'm signing, we'll go on to item 14, discussion regarding semi-traffic/parking concerns on Quarry Road near Valero.
You guys can come in now.
Good morning, good morning.
Morning.
I guess all three of us need to sign.
These good chairs up there.
You don't want to?
I'm fine back here.
Great, all right.
Good morning. What? I do.
Okay. All right, so with this, can I hand this off to Supervisor Q? And I know I kind of asked for your assistance in getting this
Yeah.
meeting going, so.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. We started talking about this again at about the time when we were set to open up the Quarry Road. And along about that time, we were talking about there's a fact that there's a offset lane coming from the north. And talking with our county engineer, we started talking about, well, we hope that no one starts parking on that lane to utilize the Valero ethanol plant. So that's been several weeks ago, and but in reality, we know this is an ongoing situation. And to my point of view, and I know to the engineer and also to the sheriff, the parking of semis and occasional truck, tractor and wagons alongside our county blacktops is a clear and present danger to the motoring public. And we've known this for some time. So we, prompted by the opening of the new road, the road that we paid about $1.5 million out of our farm to market fund, and we're pleased to do that. It creates a great situation there. We just wanted to bring up and talk in the boardroom. We've had some discussions privately with Valero about it, but we thought it was a time to discuss this issue and see if there's something that we could come to an agreement that would resolve this situation. So I asked our emergency management director to take a video of this so we could kind of see what happens. And we know it doesn't happen all the time, but there was a period of time right before the start of harvest when semis were backed up from the entrance to the Valero plant all the way back to the exit to US Highway 18/27, which is 1.63 miles. We had semis parked along the side of the road that entire distance. And so that's a long ways, and it's a lot of semis, and it kind of disrupts the flow, as you can imagine. With, well, let's see the video. You'll see what someone encounters when they travel up there.
Like I got a short on my cable there.
Yeah, very
I'll just have this here for you in a second. Thank you. Well, that's not
Because she's listening to the radio.
We got, yeah, the audio working real well.
This will come out anyways.
Okay, we're heading west, right? That's on B.
It's coming past Schmidt's house. Coming up on Marquez.
So is that approximately about 3/4 from the Avenue to the reference to?
Pardon, sir?
So that's about 3/4 of a mile from the Avenue to the reference to?
Yeah.
The music.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody
I
counted
didn't
number of
count.
semis this is,
Yeah.
but
Counted.
I don't really know how many this amounts to. the old Floyd Crossing elevator there on the left. See the problem?
That's a good example right there.
That's kind of the problem. On the curve, you meet another vehicle. It's just,
It's amazing, just seeing that. Wow.
I know you, how many million bushels do you produce ethanol and DDGs from? It's a remarkable
We grind about
addition
100.
to our economy. We're very pleased that it's here.
Absolutely.
How many million bushels do you grind out here?
We grind about 145,000 bushels a day.
Mhm.
We receive between 200 and 230,000 bushels a day, Monday through Friday. We can also receive via rail.
Right.
This is the same one?
This is a different one.
This is a different
It's
one.
coming from.
The other direction, right?
And there's the turn-off lane I was talking about coming from the north. There is a sign there, isn't there, Dusty, warning you of trucks turning ahead,
I believe so, yeah.
coming from the north?
And then we have that blinky yellow light, I think Bolero or paid for that at the time.
Was this the same day that she took these pictures, or two different days on them?
I believe so. Sure.
Looks like it had to have been a different day.
This is Roger Mulcahy's house. That's going to become his business location soon. He's a local barber. Opening up shop right there. That's the remodel job. He's moving out of the Kelly Mall. He's going to relocate to his home. That's kind of.
So how many semis are allowed to park, as they're in your property?
We can have about an hour and 20 minutes worth of trucks, either in the staging area or in the plant.
Okay.
We process 31 trucks an hour,
Okay.
so we can have approximately 40 trucks on site. 30 in the staging area and 10 somewhere in the plant.
So a question I have, I know you talked about, you know, that you would just acquire some other locations. How many locations does Valero have right now?
With the plants that will close on Thursday, we'll be up to 14 plants.
14. Do they all have similar designs of the layout
No,
of the
they're all-
facilities?
They're all different.
They're all different, okay,
We have one of the largest staging areas.
really?
Yep.
So the others are smaller?
Yep.
How do they handle the amount of truck traffic?
So
and-
if you go to any grain elevator this time of year, especially when the co-ops put on extra drivers,
Yeah.
but it rains and they have no work for them in the field,
Yeah.
they'll send them to the elevators, they'll send them to the ethanol plants. And if one of our neighboring ethanol plants is down for the day,
That goes up?
that goes up.
Hmm.
So, knowing that this problem exists, I called it a clear and present danger because you just saw what it's like. And we all know there's been lots of incidents out there. In fact, the person who took that video said that she was going one way and didn't have it running and she nearly had an accident. She just told me this morning, but that, she didn't have the camera running that day. So, we're just bringing you in to explain what we see as a clear and present danger to safety, and asking if there's anything you could do to alleviate this problem, and we just want to open up that discussion. There's some things the county could start to do, and they could, but we'd just like to hear your thoughts on it. and
What were the thoughts that the county could do?
Pardon?
What were the thoughts that the county could do?
Well, we could start writing tickets to anyone and everyone that is parked illegally on the road. Or we could have the highway patrol come over and start writing tickets and enforcing the law. And there's been lots of times through the past years where I know there's been some surveillance out there, the sheriff's office has been called out there, but the situation kind of exists, and so we're just hoping that there's something else that can be done.
Well, the one that was shown in the video, you can never build enough storage, truck storage on site for something like that. And we don't necessarily manage the trucks, they're not our trucks, they belong to farmers, they belong to elevators, co-ops. And the way the corn is sourced, some of it comes from elevators, some come from the producers, and a lot of it comes via an elevator, but direct off the farm, when the farmers deliver it. So we, at this point, really don't schedule or allocate. We've tried to get some of the larger suppliers to the plant to limit or rate the rate that they're bringing trucks to us. But if we start receiving at 7 a.m. and the lot's already full at 6:30 a.m., you just never catch up the rest of the day. We've started using text messaging and using the website. Jason is our corn buyer and is really the one that has the primary contact with all the corn suppliers. And Jason, you kind of want to tell him some of the things you've
Yeah,
done.
well, I mean, and we get, nobody wants the trucks to be out on the road. I mean, even like 5 or 10 of them, we would prefer not. The one thing which you just saw was the absolute worst case scenario ever. I mean, not that I've been at Valero for 20 years, I've only been there 2.5, but that's about a 1 week window. It was just like the worst case scenario ever, where it rained pretty much all September and we were wet, people couldn't combine beans or anything, so there weren't any things moving, so there was literally nothing else for these drivers to do other than slam us with corn. And so, yeah, I mean, that was the worst. Typically, and it does sometimes get down to the curve. I mean, it's been down to that curve before, but actually going around it and as far as they were, that was really, really bad, and none of us were enjoying that. I guess for kudos for the truckers, if you saw the big gaps that they were leaving on the curves, and we tried to help with that, leave gap. the whole idea there was for sight lines to like see trying to go around the curve, you know, to help some. But, yeah, as far as what we can do, there were 3 recommendations basically that were made by my boss, who is in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. He's the director of grains procurement for all of the locations. And the top one was to try and do some sort of allocation. You know, the big producers, you know, the Osage Elevators and Cartersville and everybody like that, you know, that can, the people that have the ability to bring 50, 70 trucks per day to us, is if we're having an issue where people are getting out onto the road, you know, limit them to 20 truckloads per day, that type of thing. You know, for most people, it's not a big deal. They can't turn, you know, they can't bring 20 trucks a day, you know. But yeah, that would be the main one, is allocation, you know, if necessary. Hey, you know, I don't need 50 of your trucks to be here today, because that just makes for a ton of truck traffic. The other thing is possibly evaluating our hours. We had been running 7 to 2, you know, which is kind of a tight little frame there. The thought process, if we expanded a little bit, you know, added an hour or 2 on that, would be just that maybe that would stretch people out a little bit, you know, so that they wouldn't necessarily have to be there right away at 6:30 in the morning type of thing, because now, you know, I have till 3 o'clock or possibly 4 o'clock. I mean, you know,
And
that's
I've heard that
another,
mentioned before too, is the hours.
that's another possibility,
Yeah.
is expanding, you know, more so later in the day than opening earlier. I mean, I don't see us opening, you know, before 6:30 for sure, and we have pretty much typically been 7. The other thing is just increasing like text message. I mean, right now I have, I don't know if it's like 150 recipients of our text messages, you know, where I can just send, you know, I send our hours, I send our bids by text message, you know, by the same token, I could send, you know, hey, staging area has 20 trucks in it right now, or whatever. You know, staging area is just about full, kind of almost like a green light, yellow light, red light, kind of, you know, red light, 5 trucks on the road now, you know, consider not coming, you know, we can't stop everybody from coming. I mean, there's only so much control that we have over it, you know, because we don't control the road and everything. We can only do as much as we can do. Those are the main things. I mean, right now, there isn't any serious, you know, consideration to expanding the staging area yet.
Was my question too. Has that been thought out, that increasing that
So
area?
we've discussed it, we haven't done any projects for it or put it in our 5-year plan at all. It's not a really cost-effective option. It gets to the point of how much room is enough room. You know, we've been receiving 230 trucks a day for the last 5-6 weeks, and there's no trucks on the road.
Yeah, like, we can literally get as much truck traffic that actually dumps, and there's nobody in the staging area. I mean, as long as a truck is going across the scale, you know, all the time, it doesn't make any difference as far as receipts, whether or not the line is down to Taco John, or whether, you know, they're driving. I mean, we got 203,000 bushel in yesterday, and that was 195 trucks, and
We might have been up to 9 trucks in the staging.
yeah, like nothing. And it's literally been like, I mean, I bet you 4 or 5 weeks. It's been, we haven't had a truck out on the road for 4 or 5 weeks. It just hasn't.
Well, it's good to know that it's not all the time.
No,
not
it's
reoccurring.
definitely not all the time.
I'm not out there all the time. I drive by there. I had never seen, I've heard about the number of semis there. So that was interesting to see
I was working out of
that.
Roger Mulcahy's when that was going on, one of those pickups was mine, but it was day after day after day, hour after hour, they were all the way to Rogers. and
Quite a bit of September was
And-
that way.
And I drove that
August
same route
28th.
as those pickups, and it is, you get around that corner and you're stuck.
You can't see.
I mean, some of those don't get over on the shoulder, you're in the wrong lane, and where do you go?
Yeah.
These suggestions are just suggestions? You haven't done anything to, do you do any
We've been
texting
doing the
now?
text messaging.
You've been doing the.
You ever think about a
And it
webcam?
hasn't
Most of
been,
them
like
got-
I said, it hasn't been an issue for 4 or 5 weeks. I mean, there hasn't, we haven't needed
Well, we've
to
been-
allocate
What was your
anything.
comment?
Dusty has incurred some costs. Fixing
We did
that
the-
shoulder,
we did the
you know, you
shoulders
talk
a
about
couple
the
weeks
rain
ago.
and that's why they're there. Well, it ruined the shoulder and you had,
We don't
$500
for a couple days,
worth
it
of-
cost us $4 or $5 probably, with materials and labor and all that stuff.
Right.
No, I know that's part of
Well,
maintenance
another,
stuff, but it just extra maintenance, it seems like.
most farmers have a smartphone. Do you ever think about a webcam out there so they can see the road?
The whole problem is there is having the data line hooked up for it. We're just not really set up for it.
Well, we spent 1.5 million for that end of the road and 1 million for the other end of the road. Floyd County has certainly invested in yours. We're asking you to do something to quit using our road as a parking spot.
Well, we don't use it for a parking spot. The truck drivers use it for a parking spot.
But they're there for your business.
Yep, they're bringing us their corn.
When we started to talk about this, naturally, we started talking about other ethanol plants in the area. And so the two closest ones that I've been to, Flint Hills in Shell Rock does not have any problem. They don't park any trucks on any county road, any city road. All the semis that come into that plant come in and park on Flint Hills property. They all get off the access station. Long roads, there's a lot of room. In reality, you lose a few customers that go down there because they don't like the long lines. So Flint Hills doesn't have a problem. So I went to Golden Grain and I talked to the plant manager at Golden Grain, and he told me the situation that exists with them in the city of Mason City. And generally speaking, they have trucks on Mason City's side of their roads for about an hour, he said, every morning. But he said this issue has come up with the city of Mason City, and they are working to resolve it, they being Golden Grain. They said their plant manager told me that by next year, they're going to have on-site parking on Golden Grain property for all the semis and all the grain wagons that come into the plant. They're gonna take care of it they're gonna provide parking on their property.
Do you know how much time, if they process so many trucks per hour, how many hours worth of time they're gonna have there?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
They said they're going to expand their parking, and by next year, they won't be parking any trucks at all on their roads, so.
They're coming in from the east, they're building something right now, the east side of the plant. If you come south out of Mason City by the metal river, I think they're coming in there with a new parking area off of the city road. They're in construction right now, I think that's.
They also told me that they actually, he also told me that they actually paid the city of Mason City for road rock that's put on the edge of the road a couple of times. And he didn't have the exact numbers, but he said a couple of times a year we give a couple of $1,000s, and that was a rough figure that he gave me just for the road rock that Supervisor Gann mentioned that like we're using. But actually, I think that's the solution. Valero needs to build parking on your property to accommodate the trucks. And to me, if the other ethanol plants in the area are doing it, why can't Valero, Fortune 500, top 15 company, largest independent retailer of oil in the world, why can't Valero do the same?
Oh, we'll look into it, but I'm not gonna make any promises at this time. But we'll have a project anytime, like in the next year or so, for that. We'll look into the costs on it. But how much is enough? You know, is an hour's worth of trucks enough? Do you have to have 2 hours worth of trucks? I think you have to change people's behavior. We've done that through trying to do the text messaging and such of that, but we're not code enforcement. And some people's behavior won't change until it affects them personally.
What we don't want is there to be an accident, you know, and we didn't do anything, because we all recognize that it's a problem, and that's where we're at. Right now, especially, you know, looking at that video, it's pretty clear. We just don't want there to have to be an accident to where all of a sudden we say, okay, now. And I know from Sheriff Crook's, you know, point of view, we've had that discussion too. I mean, sure, there could be some law enforcement out there more, but you've got the entire county that you're trying to cover, and, you know, we recognize that that would be asking a lot too.
And when you saw the video, myself as a law enforcement person, we could have cited every truck in that video. They are across the white line. By law, you have to be 8 inches on the far side of the white, or excuse me, 18 inches on the far side of the white line. So every truck out there is in violation, okay? And I understand that's not Valero's problem, they're parked on county roadways, but they're going to Valero's to dump corn. But I guess my biggest concern is, you know, we used to have problems to the north. And Valero sent out an email and got everybody to come in through the south side. And that really helped. And that curbed our complaints that we got. We haven't had a lot of complaints on the south side. We really haven't as law enforcement. But my biggest concern, and I've been out there numerous times, my biggest concern is from corner to corner, the sight distance. Is there something we can do, Dusty, to put signage up there to keep the semis off that curb? Because I stopped out there personally one time, talked to about 45 truckers, and said, hey, leave that curb open. Leave it open. I said, I understand you're sitting out here, but I said, leave that curb open, because that sight distance, you know, that's where my biggest concern was. If you have a straightaway, at least you can see traffic, oncoming traffic. On the curbs, you can't see oncoming traffic, and that's where I'm concerned that we're gonna have an accident. So, you know, can Valero set out some emails, a text message, and let the truckers know, stay off that curb?
Right.
Okay? And I understand there's people that come off that gravel road by Floyd Crossing and they don't want to let people in, but, you know, let them in if it may be. You know, they'll get after them later on in the parking lot. But can we put any type of signage up on that curb also as a county to, okay, now if I do go out there and somebody's parked, I can enforce right there on that corner at least. You know, that's a concern, and then I can vocalize that to them. That's why, you know, it's such a concern, is for sight distance. So, because I don't want to have to cite these farmers on a straightaway being parked on the shoulder and but a little bit onto the roadway, because it is still a violation. But I don't want to have to go out there, and that's going to take me days and days to write citations. Because if I write one, I'm going to have to write them all.
And we don't want to affect your business, you know, because again, the farmer's going to say, well, I'm going to be ticketed, so I'm just not going to do business there, and that's not what we want at all. But I'm hoping that there's maybe a combination of multiple things, that if you can look at that, you know, from a understanding it's not going to happen overnight, but if you could just look at it and see what it would take, you know, to increase your staging area, and maybe there's additional things, like you said, communication, you know, signs on the road. I just want to do what we can to prevent an accident.
I can understand the signing part of it, but if I sign one spot, say you can't park here, then consistently, even on a
Yeah.
straightaway or a curve, then you should sign the whole dang thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know that that's the right answer. If they're not to park and the legal rule is to be 18 inches off the edge, then they need to follow the rules, whether I put a sign up there or not. I think your best bet might be, like you said, you're sending out the texts and all that stuff, is maybe to reiterate to them, say, hey, we've had some conversations with the county. The worst part probably is the curve areas. So if you guys stage back in the straightaway areas, they're willing to say, hey, let's ignore, you know, skip the curve areas, stay back, go forward, and just kind of watch. Because if they're far enough back to the east, they can see through the curve and see where that semi is, and when they finally move forward, then they can slowly creep up, hoping that someone doesn't jump ahead of them like anybody else is going to jump ahead of them. But, you know, that communication there. Signing, you know, I can put a million signs up in the world, and if people are going to violate things no matter what, then signing means nothing.
Right.
I think the communication, maybe putting notes in the minutes, and some people read the newspaper, go to the press is here, you know, to just talk about
Of
that.
course
is
they read the press,
the-
right?
You know, the hazard areas need to be really looked at.
And maybe the hours of operation, and get that information out to people. I'm sure if I was a trucker, I would hate to know that I'm gonna be spending 2 hours or whatever of my time sitting on the side of a road. But if I
And we-
knew that
and we
we
have
maybe
sent out
adjusted.
communications, like, texts, emails to pretty much all of, the co-ops that we do business with and everything, stay off the curve,
Yeah.
leave gaps in the curve. There's a 2-hour wait right now, and we're giving you the opportunity to
That's
probably
it.
think about do something else other than come here.
The issue is that July to harvest time frame, when they bring on truck drivers and they don't have work for them. And so they'll just send them to go park somewhere.
Well, I'm a little worried that we're sending the wrong message, if we put some signs out there, we're out there fixing the road, it's like we're approving that parking.
Right.
You know, it's a long-term thing, it's not gonna go away.
So we've made
Today.
we've made the request to the elevators, the cooperatives. I think you even said that you reached out to some of them and talked to them in the past.
Yes, in fact, I talked to some of the grain merchandisers at Five Star and Via Field and some of the other ones.
And it's really tough to get them to change their behavior.
I mean, we've shut down,
Once
we
it's hit
were
the curve, we
scheduled
shut
to
down.
be open till 2 or 3, and we've just shut it down at noon. I mean, we've cut our hours before on a day, just on short notice, because this isn't safe for anybody. I mean, we're trying to be proactive on this.
And we can try to bring in more rail corn, that it's not necessarily locally sourced corn, but it is a way for us to alleviate the truck traffic. And we have the ability to do that, but we will definitely take a look at what it's gonna cost us to put in some type of on-site parking, but I won't guarantee that what we put in is ever gonna be enough. Because if we're an hour in our parking lot and an hour on the road, that's 2 hours worth of parking, I'm not sure that we've got room for another 30 up on the hill. And this video is probably 45 trucks on the road, if not more.
And there were numerous days when there were way more than that. Like I said, I was out there pretty regular working at Roger Mulcahy's place, and there were a lot of days that was beyond that corner.
From the end of August through
And-
September when it started raining.
I'm surprised.
And there was a lot of
I
days,
talked
there
to
were
him.
no gaps in that. They didn't leave the curb open, they didn't anything. And
And I've talked to Roger too, and I asked him, how he feels about it. He didn't really have any,
Well, he doesn't have any business there yet, so right
Yeah.
now it's just
Right.
basically
Right.
to and from his residence.
yeah.
It'll be different once he has business up there.
All right. Well, I appreciate your
All right.
conversation. I mean, I appreciate all of you coming. I was the one trying to encourage too, because obviously, I'm newer on the board than these two. I know you have had discussions and conversations about this in the past, but I thought it was time to go ahead and bring it back up, and see if there's anything that we can do to come up with some sort of compromise. And again, I think, obviously, just seeing the video tells a huge story. Appreciate Sheriff Crooks, your point of view too on this, so, and Dusty.
So Jason will be the primary contact as far as sourcing corn and what we're trying to do there with the truck management and the firms. Chad Buffington is taking over as plant manager effective Thursday with our purchasing of 3 more plants.
Okay.
I raised my hand and said I'd go to
You raised your
Lakota,
hand and said,
Iowa.
okay.
So I'm moving to beautiful Lakota, Iowa, or thereabouts,
Okay.
and we'll take over plant manager there Thursday.
I'm sorry, say your name again?
Chad Buffington.
Okay, Chad. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
He was our production manager, so he's been on the plant since
Wonderful.
January.
Congratulations. Amy, good luck.
Thank you.
Look how it is.
It'll be quite a change from Charles City.
Yeah, that one will be. That one will be.
Kinda wide open up
Right.
there.
Norwegian.
But again, we just want to do what we can to see
Yep.
if there's any way that we can again, protect our road systems too, that the county has paid a lot of money to put in place, and then also for the safety of our citizens.
Well, we can take a look at also helping out with the, not doing the maintenance, but buying some of the materials or such for that shoulder.
Okay?
What is the process to get, you said you have a 5-year plan, it wasn't in a
We
5-year
put together
plan for.
a 5-year budget, but we can accelerate some things up, just like you guys can with the county roads and what you're doing. When Dusty puts together his plan for what highway should get update. I think he ended up accelerating the road to the north of the plant somehow through that system.
Okay.
Yeah, we won't be embargoing the road north anymore.
We actually liked it when we did, it helped us manage the trucks.
Yeah, I know, I probably opened it up now.
You still would for
Maybe.
There you go. All right.
Road
any
turnover.
other conversation? Again, I appreciate all of you coming. Thank you.
All right, good. Thank you.
All right. When do you leave?
Thank you.
Tomorrow night I'm going to help take inventory once we change hands.
Wow, fast.
Yep.
Big town lookout.
Yeah, big town, that's right. All right, well, good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
All right, we'll move on to item 15, discussion regarding purchasing of heavy equipment. Dusty.
I didn't know if you guys got my email, the gist of my email. I made copies of this stuff, but I just got them in case you didn't print them if you wanted them. Basically, what I've done in the last couple of years in Chickasaw County was basically looked at doing comparables. This is not final yet, but this is what I'll give you as a copy. Kind of like what I said, the comparable truck values for buying like a tandem truck. I'm looking at now my timeline on getting new tandem trucks, which I'm on board. Our normal cycle for dump trucks is coming up where next budget year after July 1st, I'll be purchasing 3 tandem dump trucks. Kind of the same cycle we've done over the last, since I've been here basically. There are some places that we've taken quotes on different types like motor graders and maybe skid loaders or whatever, and that's not a bad process, but to me, you're not always apples to apples, I guess is what the way my dad taught me to say it. You're apples and oranges, and who knows this and that. So we're working, what I did in Chickasaw the last couple of years now on tandem trucks, and I bought the last 2 this way, is go through, look at the comparables, so kind of you can see what the numbers are, so that they're not coming, they sharpen their pencil as best they can to say, hey, here it is. So on this example here, the bottom line is an X's. Basically, I will know more. Calvin working with the dealer right now, Matt, Gator out of Waterloo, down on Airline Highway, whatever we're gonna call it. Met with them yesterday along with the equipment provider, which will provide the box and the snow equipment and whatever else. So I should know numbers for that. Calvin, we're hoping to hear from them this Friday. The hard part is that next week I'll be gone on vacation. So my intention is hopefully have things Friday, see where we're at, and if I don't have everything pieced together,
This Friday?
yeah, we should
This
have
Friday.
hopefully numbers this Friday, and
Okay.
then that way when I meet with you guys on November 27th, I would have this graph updated, but I figured this to you now that way you can see what the numbers are for different counties, different areas. It just kind of keeps them honest to say that we're comparing numbers and go that route. I just want to make sure you guys are okay with it because we really haven't done that here before. We've taken some different types of trucks, Freightliners. This is a more heavy duty truck. That's what I've gone to with our single axle, which we just got a year ago here in with the Western Star. Of course, single axle is a little different. That one was about 160, 170,000. The difference I had in Chickasaw last year was I did not put a belly blade on the one I have, but then the tariffs of the steel went up. But comparably, my one with the belly blade and then with and the steel going up actually was $4,000 lower. The belly blade is going to usually cost about $8 or $9,000. So the price did go up a little bit, but at least if you can read my gist here, it kind of says the cost of the overall vehicles is this. The black is written box, wings, and Sanders, and then the chassis only, which is just your truck with the engine and the cab, and basically you put your equipment on the back is in the green. So some of these comparables, all they did was a chassis, and then they went outside and then just got their snow equipment separate, so hence why you can see the comparables. But I will know more come this week. I just wanted to talk about it. Want to make sure you guys are okay with it, as long as I do my due diligence to see what the comparable numbers are, to take that quote. The references I did from, gosh, this is 1929, 31, 1968, and then also the reference from ISAC, when Dave Vestal was on the ISAC attorney, basically saying that you do not have to take bids on equipment. Basically what I understand is you don't take any bids on any rolling stock, which is tires, wheels, whatever. So that's why I gave you guys that background, at least on that stuff. My plan is to kind of come forward with the numbers on the next board meeting, hopefully. But again, our window for any trucks at all, they said, is 10 to 11 to 12 months out. So if I don't do this now, it won't be here in time. We ran into it with single out, so we didn't get it till about February, March. So if I gotta be ahead of the ball game a little
Right.
bit, so
Yeah.
I just,
So
that
still
was-
plan for next year's expenditure, fiscal year.
right, it will be after
Yeah.
July 1st for sure, but I'm a year, I'd just say year out, but that's what if I can do it now, get them ordered. And talking with them too, there's no guarantee if I don't order it now, we may delay it even longer than that when we want to get it, so. That's the reason I want to give you that
Makes sense.
presentation at least about it, so.
Okay.
Is it just for tandem trucks or is there other heavy equipment?
This one is in case of, but I could do that for excavators, I could do it for anything.
Okay.
Yeah, anything for heavy, I just say heavy equipment because that was, tandem truck in my book is a heavy piece of heavy equipment, but anything with tires and wheels, you can do pickup trucks, anything you technically do not have to, so.
I'm all for it.
Still can though. don't-
Yeah, you can, you're right, you can. You can, but I said if I
Absolutely.
didn't present you with some numbers to say, hey, where we're at, if they came in with 300,000 and you're taking my word for it, then I didn't do
Right.
my diligence to show you that
Right.
really it should be around, depending on how the steel prices are going up, I am betting, you know, it's gonna be anywhere from the 205 to 220,000, which is pretty comparable on some of these. But I just wanted to present that info to you guys, so you had it, okay?
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Comparables are good.
Yeah. And I said I would definitely do that, and I do that with everything, so.
Okay, any questions? If not, we will move on to item 16, discussion with county engineer regarding secondary road activities.
It's just a minute from last three, because I've been here for a little bit. And with,
Okay.
oh, no, sorry.
I'm trying to help you.
And time change for
Okay.
each. Oh, I can go back, let's see. The blading gravel road that basically in between, you know, the weather sort of cooperated, of course, a little bit of slushy, rainy stuff a couple weeks ago, maybe, you know, a little slimy at spots, but roads overall I thought were looking pretty good. There's gonna be a spot that keeps showing up here and there. Right now, we're hoping, we got south of the fairgrounds open, we have to replace a culvert on that hard surface road. That one should get opened up, I'm hoping tomorrow, if not today. Victory Avenue, box culvert, let's go to that one, let's go to Day Labor
That's
stuff.
what I want
since
to
we're
find
done.
out. How's that going?
That one, which, I don't remember if I talked to you guys on it, when they went to set that 2.5 weeks ago.
It was the wrong one.
Maybe I talked to you.
You did.
Yeah,
you mentioned
Department
that.
head meeting, the end sections, because it's a right-ahead skew, you know, they're skewed a certain way. The supplier made the wrong end sections, they made it for a left-ahead skew. So they went to set them on that Friday 2 weeks ago, and they were the wrong ones.
When the weather was okay, you
Yeah.
could have gotten it done.
So they said 2 to 3 weeks, basically it turned into less than 2 weeks, and last Thursday, they ended up getting the new ones delivered and set them Thursday and Friday morning.
Okay.
So that is set, now we're moving dirt, trying to backfill, we'll get it open, it's just a matter of moving dirt and getting stuff out of there.
Good.
What a pain though, that one should have been done a long time ago, so. That's it for day laborers currently on all that stuff. We're all set for the 195th Street Bridge, which is north of the fairgrounds back west, that one's been closed for a couple of years. We got contractors asking for plans and stuff, we'll have that let up here, I think in January or February, I can't remember which one. Other projects, let's see, the Frankie's Bridge, 170, let's call it 170 Street Bridge. They're up there today, that little bit of moisture we had over the week and a half ago, on Saturday, all day Saturday, Sunday, messed up. Now we're hoping to set beams, still hoping to set beams the last week in November. So the week after Thanksgiving, because the water's still high in the Little Cedar. They put tubes in there so they can go across the river with the beams and the trucks. to set them up, and now the water's still up, the water's going over the tubes still, so we're hoping that the dry weather slowly goes down so that we can get those still set at least and wrapped up for the winter. The dirt work and the rock checks is what I'm talking about. They were coming in today to start doing those so that we can get the east side open, get that road with that, where we did the stop sign today. And then pavement marking plans are in there for next summer too. So we're kind of, that's our main projects is 195th Street Bridge and pavement markings are the big stuff, and then of course our day labor stuff. When I get to budget mode, I will be probably trying to throw in $400,000 or $500,000, I've talked about this before, $400,000 or $500,000 worth of asphalt maintenance like we did on the Cerro Gordo County line this year with Cerro Gordo County. We've got the copied plans, and what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna see where budget's at, though. I gotta see where that's at, so you may see, 4 or 5, well, you may see, because you'll be in there, $400,000 or $500,000 worth of asphalt work, whether I can do T26 through Rudd and north of the county line, and then T26 south. I've gotta visit with the city.
T38 you put off for a year.
T38 is off because I got 1.4 million of federal dollars on that, that has to go, or swap dollars, I'm gonna call it. But I don't have enough farm to market dollars because the way our projects have panned out with the quarry road and all that, until it'll be a winter, about a year from, well, a little over a year from now, letting to do the summer of 2020 for T38. That's from 7 Mile Corner north of the county line. But my intention is to do, there's numerous, I guess, visit with the city of Marble Rock on that short stretch south of where we, didn't finish, or we didn't do, because it was in town and the asphalt, just mill and fill. I got from Niles Corner north, there's a bunch of variety stuff here and not enough money for S70 north of North Springs, blah, blah, blah. So my intention is, like I said, as long as my budget pertains to, and the 10-cent gas tax that's coming in, now that we're gonna wrap up with our 10-cent bridges that we've kind of, agreed to do with just that, to try to throw in $400,000 or $500,000 to do the similar thing. And, they did 8 miles at $640,000. That's less than $100,000 a mile, but I anticipate to get 5 or 6 miles a year over the next 5 years. And do a similar thing, get a mill and fill with this new, I never remember the name of it. It's a flex pavement. And, that road, like on the county line that Mary did this last year, that we're half and half on, that'll last another 20, 30 years. So, as long as the base is good, which it should be.
North from Niles Corner. That time we did all that tiling, you didn't, that was only to Niles Corner, wasn't it?
Right,
There wasn't any,
right.
you have to do anything up there?
We can look at them, but if the sub base is holding up, it's fine. When we're doing a major project like a white topping, I'll do the tile just because let's do it with the project, so.
Right.
But, there's stretches out there that this will definitely come in handy to do, but that's budget time when we get to that. And as long as my carryover balance is good, and so. Get ready for winter. A lot of creek signs out there. We can talk about that. I don't know if you guys have seen all the Beaver Creek, Stewart Creek.
We talked about it at
all
our
that.
department head meeting.
Like I said, Soil Water Conservation District, they had a grant and they paid for all the installation of all those, so.
And also the labor that it took you to put the signs up.
It was kind of see what the price of the signs come in at, and then we did them on our time. We voluntarily, I think, helped out that.
Okay.
Similar because it was a government agency. But
I talked to Adam again the other day about that roadside management. And Dusty and I have talked about that before. Adam actually came from Cerro Gordo. He ran the roadside management thing over there. And he seemed to think that there's some grant money available through that thing. Would be, whether that would help with, it kind of all goes with looking over those Beaver Creek things and, your brushing and all that stuff.
Yeah. We've been out brushing too when we can, and that'll be a winter stuff. If there's not a lot of snow when we go to that, there'll be some brushing going on.
Okay, anything else?
I don't think I have anything else. Unless you guys got anything crazy. I think I'll be back for 2 weeks, so.
Okay, sounds good.
Need it all, just leave me a message, call. Said I don't get much reception when I'm in Michigan, but
Have fun.
yeah.
All right. Moving on, item 17.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All right, we are adjourned.
So that-